Is a computer science degree worth it? Well, I'll be just talking about my opinion. For me, was it worth it? I've seen a few videos talking about whether their degree was worth it in their situation. So I thought I'd just add my opinion as well because I think it's quite useful. With a university degree, it's very much a personal experience, and people who are still undecided, someone's looking at people from their country or similar walks of life might help find and decide whether they should go or not. Of background context, I graduated like 2 years ago. Well, it's when I about finished my degree. It was a master's degree I finished, so I did a bachelor's and a master's. And so I did this just before the AI boom. So it's like not that long ago, but also long enough ago to be before this big rise of AI like ChatGPT. And another context is I'm from the UK and I studied in the UK. And I think that's important because university life in US or Germany or France is probably going to be different than it is in the UK, and especially with the work circumstances will also be different, or the financial circumstances as well. Big thing I see is computer science is not a programmer's degree. A lot of people go in thinking it's going to be just about programming. No, it's like 50-50, 50 theory, and then the other half is doing a bit of programming and then kind of combining the both. You won't be like told to sort of sit down and make whatever you want, which I think most people will already understand that, but you'll be told, here's this problem, how are you going to solve it? You need to use this language and it needs to run on this platform, or so on and so forth. So this leaves a lot of people disappointed and they will drop out. Within my second year, I was in a smaller lecture hall because people had left. They either didn't, they failed and had to retake perhaps, or that they just dropped out. I imagine people just dropped out because usually you can do retake within the summer break or continue over to the next semester or next academic year. And it's a computer science degree, so there's a lot of theory and problem solving. So if you absolutely love theory and specifically problem solving is more important than actually programming, then you'll definitely really enjoy a computer science degree. And you don't need to be good at programming at this point. It's everyone starts on the same level. So a lot of it for me was that you had about half of people came from like a programming background, that they did like software development in college or secondary school, or you had a bunch of people who did a lot of mathematics. They had never touched programming. So when they go in the first year, you 50 half of it's just getting the basics of programming, web dev, and then the other half is doing a lot of mathematics that you do at A level, and that gets everyone on the same level by the time you go into second year. So what does uni actually provide you? Because a lot of people do say when it comes to programming specifically, that you can just learn at home, and that is true. And you probably will actually be learning a lot of the programming through YouTube and online resources because it's the most convenient. There's only maybe one workshop a week or in lesson where you're actually sitting down on the computer doing programming. However, I think there's some key points with that. The first of all, when you go to university, you pay that money. You also get a ton of resources, especially if you're going to a good university, and that can be like get the library. I had free access to the library and all the resources, and then I had a digital library, so that means you get a ton of like programming resources books, so like tutorial books. You obviously get the direct feedback from tutors, so you can ask them within these workshop lessons, how do I do this, and they'll provide you with assistance. It gives you a taste of everything. So the overall your 3 years, you have different modules. You do AI, VR, all sorts of procedure generation. Depends on the university. So it is worth checking out what modules they teach you, and that gives you just a broad scope of everything that you can do out there. And I think one of the most important ones is it gives you a sense of direction. And what I mean by a sense of direction is that yeah, you can learn to program at home without university. But what are you actually going to program? What is your goal in the end? With university, you actually get a goal. It gives you a taste of everything, and then with that module, it then says like, oh, we're gonna do sorting and the big O notation, and then it's gonna here's this data. You need to sort it with all these different algorithms that you need to implement yourself in this programming language, and then find the best resulting one, or show me the best operations, like the least operations. That's something you may never come across when you learn at home. You may say, hey, I want to be a web dev, and you just start learning JavaScript and HTML, and this like gives you no sort of what are you actually covering, and you may never come across a big orientation. Maybe your language or programming skills are they're good, but you're not really learning. You're just kind of making stuff and not really problem solving, not really thinking about it. So for me specifically, I'd never heard of languages like OpenCL or CUDA specifically for programming that you could just program on the graphics card at the time. I'd also not seen like specific AI modules like with machine learning or neural networks and computer vision, where you can do all those things. At the time, it was before the AI boom. Obviously, now everyone talks about AI and everyone's studying AI, but then you heard of AI, but you didn't really, maybe you hadn't really looked at what there is to do in AI. And so that resulted in me getting into procedure generation, which is what I did for my master's as a research project. That's probably something I would have never got into and done had I never gone to university. Maybe it would have been a completely different career path. Maybe I've gone to web dev or never got into programming because I never found that footing on the ground. And so you'll love it if you really like problem solving. So if you're someone who's really into researching, like love doing research, you'll really like computer science, because that's where you'll really shine. And especially in a master's by research or a PhD, where you get to just do novel things, stuff that has never been done before, and you can still have that chance in your dissertation. Obviously the project will have to be smaller, but at the end of the third year you can do something novel. I did something relating to the uncanny valley, and very cool things that you can do. It's important to note that a lot of new social experiences, it's not, you don't just go there to study, you also go there to have fun, do some new, do sports or join social groups, meet new people, make new friends, in an area you've never been to as well. Especially in the UK, it's common to just study in a different county that you're not from. So for me, I absolutely love doing problem solving research. So this was, and right at home for me, and I absolutely love doing my master's by research, which was something novel and unique and was pretty interesting to me. And I had a lot of fun. And I learned a lot. So let's look at some of the perhaps negatives that I may have just dodged, or compared to the current market. I think that's important. It's like, yeah, sure, I got this and this and this, but now that within this short span, lots have changed. So university just is getting more expensive, and this is the new student loan offered by the government. Let me just hide my face. And this image is from the Money Supermarket website, and I'll also show that as well. But I was on this old loan, which was the 2022 one, and it had a maximum term of 30 years, meaning that if you didn't pay it off within 30 years, it would just get written off. You weren't required to pay it off. And it says here only 23% were likely to clear it in full. And the new one is that, oh, it's 40 years long, so it's longer. Yeah, it doesn't have an RPI, but because it is longer, you'll pay more into it, and you're 52% are likely to pay it off. So by the time this loan is up, well, let's just say, hypothetically, you would be retiring because you're getting close to 60. But that's a different story. So it's money saving expert Martin Lewis. On his website, you can actually get the full details of the new loan and how it actually works. So you can see it's very detailed, and it gives you everything about how the new loan will work. Other things is like the AI wave boom. I just missed that. I should also say that I just finished my degree at, I guess, just at the tail end of COVID. There was still like masks wearing, but you could still go out and into stores and stuff. There was no lockdowns, and maybe there was like a couple of lockdowns, like ones where you couldn't go into restaurants and such, and there was like restrictions on how many could enter the store at a time. But that's important because that was during a hiring boom, and now we're seeing a lot of layoffs and lack of hiring. I put oversaturated in question marks because I'm not too certain on the statistics, but appears to be a lot of entry applicants all just trying to apply. You see on stuff like on Reddit, not super great resources, but people talking about how there's like application receiving, hundreds of people applying for a single position. Because more people are attending university, a bachelor is less valuable. This probably goes for multiple degrees now. There's more people that are highly skilled, but that depends if the workforce has also increased. But with computer science, it's consistently one of the top. If you search like most popular degrees to get, computer science will be consistently on the top of those lists. So it is one that's high demand, probably because it's very accessible. If you think like you just need a computer, and so it's quite easy for people to pick it up and want to get into it. And so for me, they said about 30% of people went on to do masters at that university, which is quite a high rate. And so when I get out the job market as well, or when I did, think about it, I'm competing against bachelor's degrees, even though I have a master's degree. So they're perhaps far more likely to pick me because I'm more educated than the bachelor's. And what I mean by educated is not smart, but is with a more, higher valuable degree. And so that results in the competition is tight, and people are, what you could probably years ago, you would get a bachelor's degree, you come out and you get hired. You didn't need anything special. It's like you had the degree, that's it. come work for us. But now it's you get out degree and you've got people out here who have, oh, I've built a mini game, I've published on Steam or itch.io, I've done this projects, and you've done nothing. They're probably going to far more likely pick the other student now. That's just how it's, I think, just how it is currently in the market. You know, as more people get in, they're going to have to try and pick the one that they think is best. That they can't just, why pick any random one when they can now have a list of excellent people to choose from. So now I kind of covered everything. I just put it over like a more of a story point of view, how it went for me. So I did my bachelor's degree. I then went on to do my master's degree, and this is where I really started building up the connections. Because I did my master's degree, you focus on something more specific. Because when I did my bachelor's, I felt like I wasn't not specialized at anything. That yeah, I could program, but you know, I wasn't amazing Python programmer, I wasn't an amazing C programmer. I went on and decided I want to focus on something. In this case, I did procedure generation, and that was within Python. So by the time I'd spent a year of doing this, I had obviously became very, very good at learning and knowing procedure generation. I was considered a master at it, and I was also very good at doing Python as well, which is quite obviously desirable if I'm looking for a Python specific job or something. I did a research assistant position at the time. I was going around essentially asking, is there stuff for me else to do rather than just doing my degree? These resources are available for me. Use them at your disposal. And my supervisor was like, yeah, here's a position that you can do. Not only was I getting paid for this, it was good experience, and I built further connections with the university. Was partnered with a different company at the time, and so when I was doing this work, they came to me after that contract and ended. He says, hey, gave me his business card and said, hey, we're looking for someone kind of like you. Email me if you're interested. I'd emailed them back, and they put an offer. They said, yep, you look good and you work for us full time, and that's how I got my full-time position. It was just like that. I didn't have to. I did apply for a few other jobs just to see what I was out there, which I then used as a bargaining chip because I also got an offer from someone else, and I said, this is how much they're offering me. How much are you going to offer? And I said, well, okay, we will offer you this then. And I obviously picked that one in the end because it was something more in line of my topics, and it was something that was very interesting. So as you can tell, a degree was definitely worth it for me. It was a great experience. I learned a lot, and I got a job just as soon as I graduated, as soon as I finished my university life. So I hope you found that useful when it came to perhaps if you're picking university or you're just interested in what it was like from someone else's perspective. But yeah, that was that. I obviously covered other topics I thought within the current situation, stuff like the cost and the current AI boom and what I think of it. But yeah, overall the points are, if you really love problem solving, social connections, and research, then I think computer science degree will definitely be your thing. If you're just not interested in any of that, then maybe just go straight to programming and look at other different courses that you can do. There are obviously online courses that you can pay for. A computer science degree is not a programming degree, like I said. So people can become very good programmers, like web developers, without needing a computer science degree. They can skip all that, I think. That's in my personal opinion. Whether the job market agrees, I don't know. And so lastly, do check out my channel and please subscribe if you haven't already. I have some pretty good videos on different various programming topics, some more specific ones such as how to do pixel perfect 2D tile maps. I look back at some of my games, how I implement features, and my experience. Kind of like this one where I just talk about something, in this case like Linux, for example. See you hopefully in some of those videos.